Hello, I am Paulo D of Cage Legacy and the MMA Opinion. Joining me on the line today, I have Gary Rooney fighting out of SBG HQ. Gary fights Dylan O Donovan on April 3rd in a flyweight bout at Cage Legacy The Aftermath live on pay-per-view. How are you doing today, Gary?
All good, brother, all good. And yourself?
I'm doing very well, thank you very much. Now, I do have to ask, of course, with training, how is it going given the lockdown and everything? How has it been putting a training camp together for this one?
Yeah, it's going good. Like I've been doing my own training and stuff, so it's more just like it's mental into like it's more just by yourself. Like it's easier when you can go to the gym and when the gyms are open and stuff like that. But sure, you have to be ready, don't you?
Of course, yeah. And I do want to touch on the event as well itself, Cage Legacy, the Aftermath. What, for you, what is the significance of this event in the sense that there hasn't been an event in all of 2020 in Ireland? For the future of Irish MMA, what does this mean?
Yeah. So it is. It's going to be a big night. Like there'll be a lot of people watching, and it'll be a big event because Deco knows how to run a show as well. You know what I mean? He can get a good audience in, and there'll be a lot of people looking at it, and it will be a good show, you know. And people are more likely to buy a pay-per-view link than they are to actually come and watch the fight. So like, you'll get a lot of viewers, I think. You know, you definitely will.
Very good. And I suppose touching on that, you have the significance of it being that it has been over a year. Do you think that there's going to be an overwhelming kind of want to see this fight because there's so many big fights on the card?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not like a bad card, you know. Like some of the UFC fights are more boring, you know. There's some absolutely great fights on here and stuff like that, you know. It is like and I think people will be rearing to go, you know. I think all the fighters are gonna come ready, and I think it's gonna be a good night of fights, yeah, even just to watch.
Very good. And tell me a little bit about your background and how you got started in MMA.
So I got started in MMA for like self-defense purposes, you know. Like I was walking down the street and I didn't feel confident, and I thought, oh, I don't really know how to fight, so I joined the SBG when I was like 14, and then what happened then? Then I went up and I done the 10 classes, and then I just fell in love with it straight away, man. My first class was a jiu-jitsu class, and I learned like the sit through, and I was just like, this is amazing. Like, you know what I mean? It was a great experience. Like, it was eye-opening. I went up learning, oh, no, how to throw a head kick and a flying knee, and I ended up learning like grappling and realizing when I can put people in certain positions, they can't do much, you know. So I fell in love with jiu-jitsu and grappling very, very quick.
Very good. Now, obviously, 2020 was a quiet year for you, as it was most of the amateur MMA athletes. What are you hoping for in 2021? Are you hoping to get 3 or 4 fights in the regional circuit, or are you hoping for another IMAF event?
Yeah, I'm hoping to go to the Kazakhstans I think they're in June in Kazakhstan for the Asian Open, for the IMAF. So I want to head over and represent Ireland there. And I would like as many domestic fights as possible if I can get them here or in England or wherever, to be honest. I'm just looking to compete a load. I'm looking to do a lot of jiu-jitsu tournaments and get my grappling up to competition level, and a lot of MMA fights for everything else.
Perfect. And you've been to 2 IMAF events previous to this at amateur level. Do you believe that experience is as close to pro experience as you can get at amateur?
No. I think like there's been a few things in England where you almost wear like they're still 6 or 6 to 8 ounces or whatever the amateur gloves are, but like they look like pro gloves, and you don't have a top on or shin guards, and like, you know, there's some shots where you could knee each other in the head. I remember when I first started MMA, I wasn't competing in it at the time, but you could knee each other in the head. But I think for the level of professionalism, the way the tournament is run, and the fact that you have to fight again, like that's a very hard thing in itself. But I think there has been like closer ways to being pro still as an amateur.
Yeah, of course. And we touch on your opponent, Dylan. He's also an SBG fighter, of course, fighting out of Cork City. Do you know him?
Yeah.
Do you know him well? And is it harder or easier to compete against someone that you know quite well?
Well, like, I don't know him personally, you know what I mean? Like, I know of him, and I think I've seen him at a few jiu-jitsu competitions, and I would talk to him, you know what I mean? I've been down to SBG Cork a few times and been at a few events that Liam was run.
Yeah.
And like, I talk to him on social media and stuff. He's a real nice lad. I see that he does a lot of things for charity and stuff, and he's a good lad, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it is what it is, isn't it? Like, it's a fight. Like, he thinks he's better than me, I think I'm better than him, and we'll just have to have a fight and see, you know what I mean? Like, it's just one of them ones, like.
Yeah, and it's interesting, of course, at amateur level that these fights are relatively commonplace, especially in Ireland, where you have competing gyms that are under the same umbrella going against each other. But of course, it brings out the best in you. You've competed against someone from SBG before, though, I believe.
Yeah, my first fight was against Ronan Butler from SBG Cork, you know, so it's nothing new to me. I've my very first competition in MMA, I think, was the MMA leagues, but then after that I done like a show that Liam run. So I've been down in Cork fighting, and I know all the SBG Cork boys. I've been down there, I've trained in the gym, I've fighted in the gym, you know, so it's know what I mean? SBG Cork and me have like a little rivalry going on almost, you know.
And tell me a little bit what it's like at the moment up in SBG HQ. Of course, you had Connor fight recently and didn't get the victory. What's the atmosphere like up there at the moment, and what's the next big thing for SBG HQ?
Yeah, well, like, the gym is closed. The gym is closed and stuff like that because of the COVID, you know. So I haven't been up much, like, and things like that. So it's been good, but like, you know, like, you're still in like the group chat and stuff, and you're still like on, you know what I mean? Like, you'd still be talking about techniques, but man, the atmosphere, it doesn't change too much. It's always like, okay, get back on the horse attitude, you know. It's one of them ones. It's like, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. You know what I mean? It's one of those, and I think all the top teams think like that, you know. I think it's a very important mindset to have. It's a winning mindset, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And we like to ask the fighters that come on as well to tell us something we don't know about them. So tell us something we don't know about Gary Rooney.
Something that we don't know about Gary Rooney.
Something maybe outside of fighting that's it.
I like to do art. Me and my father like to go around Dublin, and we like to spray paint large scale murals of grappling or fighting or whatever you want to call it. So we go around, we do them in Dublin. The Instagram page is at submission_control. So we have a page as well where we post all our artwork.
Very good. I'll definitely have to check that out. I didn't know that for sure. Just for a soundbite, why should we tune into this fight in particular and the rest of the card on April 3rd?
Yeah, you should tune in and buy the pay-per-view link, because I know I'm going to go in there and look for the finish, and I hope my opponent is doing the same, because otherwise I'm going to run through him. You know, I'm there to fight. Hopefully he's there to fight. And everybody else on the card is going to be there to fight. You know, it's going to be a great night of fights, and tune in, and I'm sure you won't be disappointed.
Very good. And before we let you go, you touched on your socials there for your artwork. Where can we find you on social media, and do you have any shout outs that you'd like to do?
You can find me on social media at Gary_Rooney. I'm on Facebook as well, but don't add me on that. That's only for families. And then you can, I just like to thank my sponsors, you know, Outdoor and Sons Funeral Directors, DCD Window and Doors, Subset, you know, all the people who have helped me throughout my journey going to the IMAFs, the lads who have sponsored me from the flats, Shake and Bake. Big shout out to them. The boys are legends. But just all the other lads, you know. So just thanks to all the lads for all the continued support.
Very good. And make sure and tune in on April 3rd. You have Gary Rooney fighting Dylan O Donovan live on pay-per-view at Cage Legacy Aftermath in a flyweight bout. Thank you very much for coming on with us today, Gary.
It's 60 kilo as well.
Cheers.